to our clients, we owe a special duty to be as competent as we possibly can and to continually sharpen our skills in order to be the best that we can for them. And that we should do it as expediently and economically as possible, despite whether they ask us that or not.
Christian Saunders is the founder and named partner of Christian Saunders Real Estate, a brokerage he launched in 2017 with a principles-based approach rooted in integrity, fairness, and professional excellence. Under his leadership, the company has grown from one agent to over 75 agents across 5 offices in northeastern Pennsylvania, closing more than $1 million in annual sales and 500 to 1,000 transactions each year. Christian's mission is simple: treat clients as he would want to be treated, offering loyalty, confidentiality, competence, diligence, and unwavering honesty. His agents are held to the same high standards, encouraged to give back to the community, and committed to always doing what they say they will do. Sometimes more, never less. Why don't you tell us the backstory of how you decided to become a broker? Because I think that story is so interesting.
There's 2. I started on my, right out of school, I was doing accounting and I hate it. I refer to it as the longest 5 months.
We have an accounting office.
Yeah,
right?
I know. We're like a couple days from April 15th.
You got to really love that because you got to really love it. Yeah. And I didn't. And I refer to it as the longest 5 months of my life. But
5 torturous months.
5 torturous months, yeah. But after I would leave the accounting firm, I would go look at real estate. And then I realized I really wanted to invest in real estate. And to do that, I needed an income and I wasn't staying in accounting. So I got into being a realtor. And I really liked that. I enjoyed it. It really challenged me because in the accounting world, to ask questions is a sign of not being intelligent and not knowing what you're doing. And in the sales world, it's all about asking questions. So I was a real tough shell to crack. And we've probably trained 150 agents now. And I don't know anybody that struggled as hard as I did. I was just so young. I was 24. I had all the time in the world and all the energy. And I just pushed through it. But it was with a lot of help from a lot of different people. But I made it through the 2008 downturn in the market, and my real estate investments did really well then. I had been invested in student housing. And so I had never really considered this my occupation, what I wanted to do and then I got into other things. I got into a software company, and then one day, I woke up and I realized I really like being in real estate, and I'm growing up this is what I'm going to do when I grow up.
How old were you when you had that epiphany?
35.
Yeah, you were growing up.
Yeah, so I'm okay, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And when I had that realization, then I went all in on the real estate brokerage. And I just looked back at the sales. I had a really good portfolio of real estate. And I realized I started getting pulled between the 2 worlds. I started getting pulled between being a broker and attending other agents that had, if they have problems or they were training them or were forward looking, I started getting pulled between these 2 worlds. And I realized this is not the best financial decision, but this is where my heart is, and hopefully it pans out. And I sold off all of my real estate. I had to convince my partners, hey, I want to sell off things that are very profitable. And they were like, Christian,
no one sells real estate.
I know this really good psychiatrist. You might want to talk to them. I said, I know, I get what you're saying, but I convinced them to sell, and we sold. And I remember going down to a bank on February 14th, 2020. You wouldn't suggest this, but I said, put it all into CDs. And I get back to the office. I called the bank and said, I didn't get a slip on that. And she said, I thought you might want to take some time to think about it. And I said, and she knew me. So I said, I appreciate that, but put it in the CDs. And then a month later, the country shuts down. And I thought, she must be so suspicious of me. It was 30 days to the mark.
Oh my gosh.
But then during COVID, I thought, here is the first year I go all in. And I don't know how much money we're going to lose this year because everything was shut down. I'm like looking at the 0, 0, 0 after, or negative numbers after we're all shut down. And then it opened up, and it opened up in August for us. And I almost felt guilty because we were doing so good, and so many different businesses, restaurants were still like failing and stuff. But August of 2020, and we really haven't looked back since then.
I want to know, because I always think this is amazing. So your geography that you cover on the map, where are you guys located? Can you give us a range?
Yeah. So majority of our business is done in Lackawanna and Luzerne County, but I went up to Mansfield last year. Do you know where Mansfield is?
Sure.
I was just a little bit north of there, actually. We've gone into New York, but that's where we are geographically. We now have a presence in the Lehigh Valley, and we also, I think by the time this thing airs, we should have a presence in the Poconos, which we've been trying to get into for a long time. But it's really about finding those right people. That's the hardest part.
I know you have
Just
a
need
handful.
volume.
You have a handful of core principles that you really stick to. Yeah. Why don't you talk about those a little bit?
Yeah. First starting off, it's funny that we're here talking about this because I looked at what you probably consider competitors, and I think they were just opening or just closing their office right down the street. And I remember looking, I said, let me look at them. Let me look at their mission. So I write down this mission statement, and I went to bed, and I remember thinking, like, I can't get behind this. Maybe this business isn't for me. And then I did a little bit more digging, and I realized that the organizations that I really truly admired and were like the pedigree, they didn't even have mission statements. Like I could barely find them. If I did, they were buried somewhere. But they had core principles, and the core principles is what made all the decisions for them. And I thought, this is easy. I can write our core principles right now. And I wrote it in 10 minutes, and we still pound them into the people that come with us from the beginning. And like when I'm interviewing somebody, we go over the principles, and if they're not like bought in, they're probably not for us. But our principles are to our consumers. The golden rule, we're just going to treat you the way that we would want to be treated. But to our clients, and you probably find something very similar in your business, to our clients, we owe a special duty to be as competent as we possibly can and to continually sharpen our skills in order to be the best that we can for them. And that we should do it as expediently and economically as possible, despite whether they ask us that or not. And then to our people, like to our agents, they should be able to do better in our capacity than anywhere else, or maybe it's not for them.
Yep.
So those are the principles that I adopted day one, and those are things I can get behind just naturally and believe in. And if that makes us number one in the marketplace, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. We're still going to treat our customers that way. That's the thing. Like when people say, what's the difference in our business? A lot of people do the same things, but I think that's the differentiator, the most differentiator for us.
What jumps out to me there is that the difference is in the financial place you were interviewing or looking at, it was what we as a company want. And in your principles, it's what we do for the client, for the customers.
Yeah.
Who we are.
Yeah.
It's really not even what you do. It's just who you are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Without them, anytime we look at, I would imagine you do this, anytime you look at adding a new service or getting better at something, you kind of have to sit back and go, if I was a client paying Stonehouse for advice, would I think, hey, this is great? Or would I think this is a colossal waste of the fees that I'm paying you? And that kind of helps you determine whether or not you should be pursuing something.
That's like, we're zeroing in on that now. Like we want to get feedback from our customers and double down on that and learn more about our customers' experience. If you don't learn about your customer experience, you learn when they walk away and they stop using you, or your whole market shifts to another competitor. That's something that we're doubling down on. That's something I think I would have already had implemented if it wasn't for the dust smoke created by COVID, but we're working on it now.
So you were experiencing long COVID for a little while.
No, it's been the dam broke there. You were talking about the dam. That dam broke, and we're just like trying to swim.
Going back to the reason I was asking about your geographical presence is that I've always found it just insane to be in real estate in Northeast PA. But there are some great realtors, and I apologize for not knowing the difference between a realtor.
Nobody does. That's all right.
But there's some great people in the industry. I just think this particular location on the map has it's challenging compared to what I think, and I've experienced what I feel are very less than adequate realtors, brokers, who barely could sell anything to anybody. They don't even know what's on the sheet of the house you're walking through. And I'll have to look at that later. You can tell they've never even looked at the sheet. And yet they're still selling because they're sitting in the right spot in Florida or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's impressive that you've been able to grow yourself, your team, in a challenging market. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you would say it's not that challenging.
No, I think you're right. And like when we, like just our presence in the Lehigh Valley, like comparing the people that we have in the Lehigh Valley versus the people that we have here, it was like they got it way easier. Like it's such a bigger area, and there's more money, and the prices are higher, and there's a little bit more competition, but that shouldn't be too much of a concern. Yeah, I agree with you. And when we look at what we consider markets around the country, like this isn't really even on the map. It's too small. We don't have the population, we don't have the number of agents. There's probably 2 markets, like real markets in Pennsylvania, and that's the Philadelphia region. There's probably 1 or 2 markets there, and Pittsburgh is probably 1 market. So yeah, that makes it a little bit challenging being here. Yeah.
So you were born here though, right?
Yeah.
Like most of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to work here.
Not anymore. We see that change. I don't know about here. I don't know if you guys have seen that so much in Wyoming County, but I'm always like amazed when I go to a restaurant or a grocery store and I don't know half of the people.
Yeah.
I'm so used to growing up, I'm going to see so many people there that I know. Yeah. And now I don't know half of them. There's been a real influx of people from outside the area. You guys haven't really experienced that as much here, right?
Yeah. We're out in the middle of nowhere. Come on, man.
No, but it hasn't come this far. Now you have you have what everybody wants now. You have a house on a couple acres. That's what everybody wants.
It's a good place. Every area goes through its time of when it's looking good and not looking good. But I wanted to ask you about the virtual. And I say that because I was just down. My wife and I went down to Florida real quick, and somehow she finagled me into going to like the villages and a retirement community, and they're just flowing through properties. And I was shocked to hear several agents say that 60 to 80% of the houses they sell are just through virtual, like FaceTime walkthroughs. Are you guys doing that? Or are you still? I don't care how small the house is. I have to physically walk through that space.
Yeah.
So
a lot of times, like, the agent will go through and do a FaceTime tour for the customer. But yeah.
But most of your stuff is FaceTime.
Yeah, I remember the first time that happened to me, we were shut down. It was because of COVID. And I'm like, these people are going to come in the day before the closing, walk through this house and walk out. And that's going to be the end of it. And it was pretty close to the turnpike.
Oh, yeah.
And they love it. They love it. And they closed on it, and I was like holding my breath.
Wow.
You know? I wasn't their agent. I was the agent for the seller. And I was afraid we were going to lose the deal. And I drove by, and my seller's moving out. I'm like, oh, this is going to be terrible. 'Cause I'm like, I think I got to see the house and stuff and see the area. But maybe, I don't know, maybe they saw the area a little bit more. I don't know. I've sold stuff where people haven't seen it at all. There's just pieces of real estate people want. They know they want it. They don't care. But as far as a residential home, that's...
Yeah, I've had friends who've shopped for homes virtually and made decisions. But I think it depends on what you're basing your decision on.
That's right.
You know, like, do you want to get there? Do you just need to be there? Is it a timing thing? Is it checking the most important boxes, and maybe anything else is just ancillary at that point? Who knows? I don't think I could do it, though, either.
It depends on where you're coming from, right?
Yeah.
If you're coming from the city, power lines are like nothing.
Yeah.
If you're coming from the country and you're moving there, you're like, whoa, that's not something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To some people, it might look like a tree. To me, it did not.
Right? Why do they try to make it look like a tree?
There was one of those at a cell tower, too. Yeah.
So weird.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Major life and business changes can really shake things up. for worse, and sometimes, I believe, for the better. As a certified neuro coach, I know that when we are in an area of transformation in our lives that we did not choose, or maybe we did, we are bumped up against our comfort zone. And when that happens, our subconscious mind gets louder and tries to pull us back to where we feel safe. But I know, as a certified neuro coach, that this is the perfect time to take this transformation and turn it into something that you desire, something that you want. This is the perfect time to rewire those old limiting beliefs that have gotten in your way, and let's break free from that in this time of transformation and make it work for you. Let's turn this into a magical moment. I would love to hear from you. You can book a call on my website at mariaconaglero.com. Let's make this transformation last.
So what's one of the most challenging parts of how many people are running the business? Is it you running the business? Do you have an internal team?
That's really me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it challenging or do you love that, or both?
I love the challenge. That I love that. It's been challenging. Like, I brought people in to run certain functions, and that's been challenging because I don't have much experience managing people, and that's been trial by fire like that. And I think every person every time it's a lesson, and a very expensive lesson, probably more expensive than college, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you've experienced that. That has been challenging. But the real challenging thing, and you said something, I don't know if it was before we started or not, but you're mostly working with the advisors. Now, you're not necessarily in with clients as much, right? Is that what
As much, yeah. I have a small
yeah.
book of business personally that I manage compared to most of our advisors, yeah.
Yeah, so that's very similar to how I am now. Yeah. And in one respect, it like keeps me in tune with what's going on.
Yeah.
I understand, like, I take my own medicine if I tell them, like, listen, we got to do things this way, and then I have to do it. I'm like,
No, I know exactly. Just stay grounded.
yeah, and then I can communicate back out to them. Look, I took my own medicine this morning. It was fine. You guys can do it. Yeah, but communicating with our agents, but switching from having my own book of business or focused on that to focused on helping other people grow, that's been challenging. And I think my customers and clients now, where they expected me in the beginning, now they say, wait, oh, you're going to be there? And I'm like, yeah. They expect that at this point with somebody else. It's been tough to switch out of that role, though. And that's really probably where I should be. And it's been tough to work on the business rather than in the business. I'm like a glutton for punishment. I like being in there, and I know I should probably take my hands off a little bit, but it's just not who I am.
What's your biggest goal for your organization?
Our goal from the beginning has been to grow into other markets. I think that for us to scale is really our biggest goal. And we've tried lots of different things. And if nothing else, I'm very persistent.
I know.
I won't hit the goal.
And I know you're laser focused on your vision too.
I'll keep moving the timeline, but I'll never change the goals. I'm still very focused on getting into other markets. I thought we were going to be into Bucks County last year. We got into Lehigh, and then I thought we were going to get into Bucks County, and we didn't. I'm hopeful that we do this year. It's a great market. We had a lot of reception from people in Doylestown. And
so what would that take? That would take finding key people in those areas who want to be on your team.
Yeah. So if I find the one key person.
Yeah. Let's describe this person.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Okay.
Particularly if they might be listening. So sometimes it's a key agent. It's just an agent that says, look, I want to be a part of your company. I want to be in this market. And I call around and I'll say, are you interested in coming on? No, I'm not. Tell me some agents in your market that have a great reputation that you admire. Tell me some, if their name starts keep coming on a list, like that's someone we really want. And I'll go after them pretty aggressively.
Yeah.
But the other person is somebody to manage that, because I can't be down. That was one of the struggles for us, is that I couldn't be there in Doylestown. Now, I can service the Lehigh Valley if I really have to, but Doylestown was like a 2-hour ride. There's no easy way to get there. So that key person is a little bit different of a personality, somebody that has the ability to sell as an agent, but really has the supportive role, this need to be in the supportive role. And that's somebody that we really want. But it really starts with the key agent. Like, I think we have a key agent that we'll be able to build around.
It's really exciting. So then these key agents, hopefully they buy into your core principles, yeah, and embody them.
Yeah, if they don't, if
That's
they
the
don't,
goal.
you
So you
wouldn't
want
sabotage
excellence.
your company, right?
People who are on top of their game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And you take really good care of your agents. I know that you have a high split.
Yeah.
We do graphics for Christian Saunders Real Estate. And
Full disclosure,
I
right?
feel like, yeah, there's a lot of capping graphics that we do for agents.
Everything is built in an agent-centric way. So we focus everything on the agent. So all the leads, everything coming in when we're building something, it's all going to them as opposed to going to the company. Now there's a third model where it's like a no broker model. This is like an even lower cost model than my model. And that model says you don't need a broker at all. You can do it on your own. And that's appealing to some people. But we find that the agents in our company, they actually do better even though we're a little bit more than them because of the focus on building them up. So yeah, we start doing this now, and I'll joke with our people and say, is anybody worried that we're going to make our bills like next month? Like, because they're all on 100% commission split.
I know, right? It's so great to see. So then you do offer a lot of training for them too.
Yeah. So I think that our new agent training for people coming into the business is like, we described everything that people need. And I'm somewhat apprehensive to tell people, when people get their license, they're like, I want to start today. How do I get out there today? And we sit down with them and we're like, this is a 3 to 6 month process.
It's a lifetime.
And then we just start with them to go over here's what you need to be competent. And they're like, that's it. And no, here's what you need to be in sales. And
Confident, yeah.
yeah. And then you need to see somebody doing it. So we need like a mentor involved. So like all of these things have to come together. And we've seen that it's very successful for them. So we really help them along. And then as far as maintaining, things change in the market, and we're constantly doing some kind of training or not. But I'm very apprehensive to schedule anything. I know how busy our people are, and unless we have something to tell them, we don't really bother them with much. And if I could do it through a phone call rather than a training session or drop your day, like they all know the things that they should be doing, and a lot of them are doing them. Every once in a while, I have to give someone a little bit of confidence. We all need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That's great.
We do a similar midday Wednesday, right? Hump time, right? In the middle of the week. And that went 1 or 2 hours of just like a team. Usually it's virtual.
Yeah.
We just all jump on there, especially at first it's everybody, and then the advisors stay on for that second hour to just talk about random things that they came across. And it's great to see, and I'm one of them, I hate to say it, but the older guys tell some of the younger folks like, I had an exact situation like that. Here's what I did. Here's what you might think of now. Oh, that's great. Like that idea sharing you can't get that in a textbook, and it would take you hours to search YouTube for it. To me, that's invaluable, and it helps. I think our older, in your case would be your agents, our older advisors just enjoy helping the folks who are newer and ultimately keep the quality high of the overall service.
Yeah, that's something that we probably should implement. We have one of the pillars that I built on was knowledge sharing, that we'll share our knowledge as a company.
Yeah.
When there was 3 of us, people were like, I'm like, could you share with everybody what you're doing? No.
Yeah.
But now that we're at a certain scale, like people are like, you want to do this? And we have a group chat that's pretty vibrant, but I think that camaraderie is something that I lack to capitalize on, which you are. Good for you.
Yeah, it's different, right? Because it's still through Zoom. I'd rather have us all in one room, but we don't have a conference room big enough for that now.
Yeah.
But there's something really to be said for that. You'd be surprised. A lot of times it seems like a stale first 5 minutes, and then somebody brings something up and it turns into, you hang up an hour later. Wow, that was fantastic that he or she helped them. And a lot of times I would think where I would have to assume it'd be the biggest gain for you guys or hiccup for you in your industry would be financing, like trying to get sometimes creative, and it's just not your basic check the box and get it done. Now you might need to be more creative and help your buyers figure out how to do it, or your sellers at times. So sometimes you have to be the grease in the wheel to get the lender and the property and the appraiser and everything going. And
Yeah, I do see that. Like I know that they're talking to each other, because someone will do a great job for someone in Luzerne County, and then I see the same vendor up here or something. And I'm like, okay, they definitely recommended them, or the same person doing title work or the same inspectors. So I know that that's going around. Yeah. So I guess they are talking, or sometimes we'll get something in our chat. Does anybody know how to do this? And then someone will say, PM me, they'll private message them. So it's not like blowing up our phones all day. Yeah. That's interesting to see. Now, are you involved in all of the meetings on Wednesdays?
most of them, yeah. It's an optional thing. So whenever you have a client, if a client can only meet it during that time, then go meet with the client.
Yeah.
But for most of us, we typically keep that day it's noon it's usually 12 to 2. I keep on my calendar on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And if I'm not doing anything specific, I'm always on that meeting, either just listening and watching my team go back and forth or contributing my way. Either way, I usually hang up feeling pretty good.
I think I might take that from this.
Oh, I love that.
Awesome.
I could feel the yearning. Like I could feel like and I'm like the spoke. I'm like, you don't know.
Here's
I
the
think
thing,
if we were
Christian.
on an open meeting, that would be fine.
It's a pro and con here, but it's a necessary growing pain to really transfer the value of the company from you as a person to the company. You have to almost make yourself not obsolete, but less valuable on a day-to-day basis.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Right? You have to make
Think of it
yourself
that way.
so your own. If you're successful in doing that, transferring the value from you to your business, then you find yourself driving into work some days going, will they even notice if I just turned around and went back home or something?
Yeah.
And it's like this, hey, look at that. And then you're like, oh, look at that. It's just
Hey, I'm free, but nobody needs me.
Yeah. But I don't care how big the business gets or how great the team is. There's always those intangibles that you do. And I'm not the only one doing that in Stonehouse. We all wear different hats. There's a lot of times, I have a bunch of good partners. So there are a lot of times where I think to myself, like, oh, I'm not pulling my weight. And then I'll work like extra. And I know they feel the same way. And they're like, oh man, you did all that over there. And then, so it's a very good balance right now.
Yeah.
But there are times where you definitely think, because we just talked about this in a different conversation, if you're really good at hiring and teaching, which need to go hand in hand like you're doing, then a lot of times the people you're putting in place to do what you were doing are going to end up doing it better.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're different. But it's always different. I wouldn't have done that, but the end result was actually probably better than maybe I would have done.
Yeah.
But that's a
I
success.
see that a lot. I'm apprehensive to say that, especially being recorded.
We'll edit that out.
Some people, I'll say to them, as an agent right now, I'm probably not the best person for you. Some things specifically, it's a possibility, but like we had a guy walk into the office and he lives close to the office. I know him. He came in and talked to me, and I'm thinking to myself, at what point do I tell him, like, there's a dozen people here that would be better for you than me? Yeah, I felt that a little bit.
Yeah. You're becoming, instead of the best cabinet maker, right? You're more of a contractor, and you say, I've got a great guy for cabinets, but you're not looking for cabinets, you're looking for this. I've got the agent that really does well with that kind of property.
Yeah.
So like I don't want to ever say tool, because people aren't tools, but you've got everybody's got their skill set.
Yeah, there's some people that are much better at certain things than others, that's for sure. And I think they would admit that too.
Yeah. I've been
Yeah.
referred to as
Yeah.
a tool before, but not in a good way.
Not by me.
Thank you. It's early.
Nah,
Anyway.
Do you have any good stories?
that's a pretty general question.
I
isn't
know,
it?
like a good real estate story.
There's some experiences that I've had in real estate. Yeah, and a lot of the experiences are about how customers or clients handled something. There's a guy from Wyoming County, that's why I'm thinking of this. And I sold the property at auction. I did an auction for the people. I have my auctioneer's license. We did a bunch of them in 2009 when the market had changed. The property's probably worth a couple $1,000,000 now. But back then it was like some religion or something that had hired us that was feeling the pressure of upkeeping this. It was a pretty large property, and they were running out of money. And so we auctioned it off. We had a $500,000 reserve on it. And sometimes you don't hit the reserve. You try to make a deal with your top bidder. So I'm there and I try to make a deal with the top bidder, and I'm off by like a hair. And this guy he's in a machine operator. He's in
Carhartt coveralls and
yeah.
stuff.
And he leaves, drives away, and I thought, man, that guy talked to me a bunch about this property, and he didn't really want it. He bid like a little bit and then left. And then I pulled my sign out, and it's a big sign. I'm shoving it in the car, and I had all this stuff out. I'm like, this sucks. I can't believe that I didn't sell this thing. And I called the guy. I said, I just want to let you know we didn't come to terms with it. Didn't go. So whatever. And he goes, where was it at? I said, they were trying to get $500,000. I couldn't tell you that during the auction. They were trying to get $500,000. And I just talked to the seller. They told me I could let the cat out of the bag. And he said, I'll do 510. I said, what? I said, when can we get together? He said, I'll be right over. And he came over, gave me the $50,000 deposit or whatever.
Really?
And paid cash for the property 30 days later. But I was thinking of that as I was thinking,
See, that's a good story.
Yeah, that is a
So
great
then-
story.
Do you think intuition plays a big part in this industry?
Tell me what you mean by that.
What made you call that guy?
It wasn't intuition.
What
It was
was
like
it?
dumb luck. I think.
Desperation.
No, I don't think it. No, I see. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I didn't. You're suggesting it. No, I didn't have my finger on it. I had no idea. I thought,
That's what I mean. You had
Yeah.
no idea. You just
Nah.
like on a whim, you're like, that guy stuck out in my mind. I'm gonna call him.
I was just being respectful and telling like the people that had bid on it, like it didn't go, because in an auction, it's a little bit different. You have to get more than one buyer. You have to get at least two buyers and create the market.
Interesting.
I was just being respectful to him. I didn't.
See, so then that's a core principle of who you are, and you're just embodying your core principles.
But that's the opposite, Maria. Like whenever I try to, I'll sit down with the seller and they'll say, I know who's going to buy this property. And I said, oh, no, you don't. I've been through this enough. You don't know who's going to buy it, because whenever you try to like say, oh, this is a ranch style house, it's going to be for a retired person, then you should market it to retired people. It's like the first time home buyer that's in their 20s that buys it. Like you can't do that. And if you do a really good job getting it out there to a wide audience, you shouldn't be able to predict it. But a lot of times a seller will think they've got that intuition. They know who it is. And I've never hit the nail on the head. It's never been who I think.
I'm not saying psychic. I'm saying intuition. See, now I feel like you are leaning into your intuition, where they're leaning into their intellect only.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I know that someone's out there, and we can't pinpoint who they are.
Yeah, we've got to make it broad.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of marketing. Yeah.
When
you
something's
tell
going to
everybody.
go, though, you can feel it. And like that conversation I had with some of our agents today, like they could feel, they had this feel of what was going on. Like they couldn't put the buyer and seller together. And they said, I don't know what's going on. And they had gotten the market in 2020. I said, have you ever been in a down market? And they said, no. I said, maybe this is what it feels like. Maybe you're starting to feel that disconnect between buyer and seller. So I hope I'm wrong about that. I hope that doesn't pan out. But so there's a feeling to the market.
That's very interesting. That's experience, right? To know, because we have some advisors who are pretty new and haven't been through potential bear market. I was laughing because, again, this is coming off a pretty bad week in the market, right?
Yeah.
And over the weekend, one of my partners put out a thing that said the last time the VIX, the volatility index, was at this high, there were 6 times. And I was like, and we were talking about the recovery after that. And I'm like looking at those, and I'm like, damn, I've lived through through 5 of those 6.
Really?
I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like an old man now. But it's also the reason why I'm a lot calmer now. Not that I'm not cognizant of that, but I think that experience makes me aware that when it gets weird and uncomfortable, it's also opportunistic.
That's
Right?
the biggest opportunity. It's the
Yeah.
once in a lifetime, or for you, 5 times in a lifetime opportunity, right? Yeah.
Boy, that makes you sound like some old man on the mountain. My gosh.
Yeah.
But-
I've seen a couple.
But I think as a younger person, I always looked up to and appreciated that calmer, wiser sage in the office that was saying, "Hey, this is
Yeah.
what's going to probably play out." I just can't tell you what time frame. It might be 10 days. It might be 10 months.
Yeah.
And it could be 2 years. Who knows? But real estate, I think, is probably much more of a patience game, depending. So as your wealth builds, so does the amount of pressure that surrounds you, right? Maybe your income is still higher than ever and your business has more revenue than ever, but you're also thinking about your family, your employees and their families, debts that you need to pay off, taxes that you want to minimize, cash flows to track, all while trying to stay excellent at your job and innovative within your industry. Our team at Stonehouse helps you manage your personal wealth, whether it's in your retirement plan, your business, or any other place. While you're busy out there conquering the world and trying to take care of others, don't forget about taking care of yourself. Contact Stonehouse to see how we can help make your life better. I wanted to ask, commercial versus residential. Which do you personally like more? And is there a drastic difference? Do you have agents that are very good at commercial and only kind of focus on that, or?
So commercial is a little bit different. Like for a user property, it's similar to a home because you have to find a new user, like somebody that's going to have the same use. But it's different in the way that you market it because we have such a strong market and there's so many real estate agents that if you put a home or a multifamily on the market sells it. There's 500 other agents that have some kind of incentive to sell it, and that does it. In the commercial market, there's less cooperation. So you have to go more aggressively find that buyer. So you have to market to them, and there's more of that. So,
Which do you like more?
So as far as the business goes, I like commercial because it's here's what I'm paying,
Yeah.
boom, and it's no business, all business. I love that about it. But there's something about being a part of helping people find a home or helping them sell a home that like you're really connected to them. So the personal side of it, I like that and the residential side. But if it were like, I wouldn't say if I had to choose, I would just do commercial because I think I would have a yearning for that personal connection, that the fulfillment that you get in the residential market. But yeah, I like the cut and dry of I'm a little boring sometimes, but that's I do
That's
like
what builds a business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That predictability.
From a personal perspective,
Yeah.
I think before you got here, and I might screw my numbers up, but did you say that you have 4 kids?
I have 4 children. Yeah.
4 children, wife,
Yeah.
and so you've got a lot going on at home.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
finding, as you always like to call it, the work-life balance to be more challenging, or do you have that mastered at this point? And
It was a challenge. Yeah. So I'd always talked about work-life balance, and then I read something on Jeff Bezos, and he had said you really need to find work-life harmony. Like these two things interact to each other. And I had never known. I had mentored with 2 different people, and the one guy, his kids were in the business and they were there, and then the other person, like, you never even knew that they had children. And I was like, where do I want to be? And I'm a little bit in between both of them, but work-life harmony. Like when we first started having children or something, I'd be home, and my wife's a teacher, so she doesn't understand that people are going to call you when you're home. Like this is like a foreign concept to her. I would get a phone call and she'd be like, but we're doing something as a family. And like after a year of fighting it out or whatever,
Yeah.
she finally, like, they're really good about it. Like they understand. I'll hear like, Daddy's on the phone. Like it'll get quiet, but they know that there's a flip side to that. Like on a Tuesday afternoon, if we want to do something as a family, we can do that. Not everybody can. So I think I had to educate them so that they were appreciative of that. And so I've really found the balance there. But there's always a pull, right? You're always feeling like, I should be at work a little bit more, or I should spend more time with the children. But in the morning, I go over a gratitude journal, like what I'm grateful for and, what I would really like to happen today. And usually there's some kind of balance. Like I want to focus on the business, but I also want to spend time with the children. And I'll say it's 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I'm going to spend time with this kid or that kid.
Do you find that helps you?
The gratitude journal?
Yeah, because you get to set an intention.
Yeah.
Work toward it throughout the day.
I might steal that.
Yeah, you
That's
take
good.
it.
It's
It's a book. I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
But it opens your mind up. I think sometimes we're like bogged down by what do I have to accomplish today, and you get stuck in that. And instead, you step aside and say, what am I grateful for today? And you start with the smallest thing, grateful for fresh air or something like that. And it opens your mind up to what really matters.
Yeah, there's actual brain science behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called your reticular activating system.
Oh, here we go.
Allow me to explain. When your brain is focused on something, your subconscious mind always wants to make you right. So the more you focus on something, the more your subconscious mind, which is 95% of your thoughts, is going to get on board and continue to work while you're not focusing on that thing. So by focusing on your gratitude list in the morning, and now let's say you shift your focus, your subconscious mind, if you've done it enough times, is going to start looking for evidence of that truth. Your subconscious mind always wants to make you right. So now if you're focused on the negatives, if you're focused on the scary marketplace or focused on all these buyers are saying, no, I'm not able to sell this house, your subconscious mind then is going to continue to look for evidence of that to make you right.
Yeah.
So that's confirmation bias. But if you focus on, oh, we are going to expand to Bucks County. There is somebody there. I know it. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen. Your subconscious mind is going to continue to look for solutions to that problem. And you are not necessarily thinking about it if you truly believe it.
I teach that in our first lesson with our agents. And I tell them and this has worked for me in life. I'm sure it's worked for you. We'll have a vision of what we want. Just see it. And if I go over the one time it took me a year to see it. But I knew taking my time and really seeing it was important. And that was the rock. That was the hardest thing to move. And once I could see the vision, if I truly believed it, a smile would come over my face. Yeah, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then the rest was just setting the wheels in motion. But I go over that with our agents when we first started. When I was starting off, I remember setting this vision of, what I wanted. And they forced me to do it. It was really uncomfortable. And then I buried it away. And then looking back, and I try to not be materialistic. I don't want my goal to be this material thing, but this guy pushed me into this. You got to do that. Okay. So I did. And I went back to that thing and I'm gee, that green that I printed out of the walls on this house I wanted was not in fashion when I did that. And it was on our walls a few years later. I'm oh, this is crazy how that worked out. Because I didn't consciously pick that.
No,
in the car, even the car that I remember, I thought, oh, I had that car because I found the paper.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't stay focused on it. But I think the subconscious mind really took over.
It really
there.
does. It's interesting.
That's why you talk about if I wanted to go buy a Toyota, a red Camry, something that I'd see red Camrys everywhere. That's the same.
The reticular activating system. You could see it in your mind. You could taste it. You could smell it. You know exactly what you don't want.
Yeah.
Do you know as clearly and as equally vivid what you do want? No.
Yeah.
The answer almost always is no.
So take the time.
Yeah,
figure that out, right?
Yes. Yeah. Know what you want with clarity.
I see people are either motivated by fear of loss or opportunity to gain. And those people are they know they're motivated by their fear.
Some people are afraid of success.
Yeah.
That's when you're really in a pickle.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people.
Yeah. So what is success for you? How do you define it for you personally?
I've looked at that question several times. And I've had this conversation with our agents. What would make you feel successful?
Yeah.
And I don't really know. I don't think of myself as successful, but I think if you fulfill your ambitions, they're somewhat successful. So the success is different for all different types of people.
Would you say you're successful now? Not
No.
in the dollars and cents successful, but in as a
I feel-
feeling of fulfillment,
I feel
gratitude.
very comfortable.
Yeah.
And that is mostly because of what I've done in my investments with my real estate and stuff. I feel very comfortable. But as far as successful, no, I don't think of myself like I'm successful. I
No,
don't.
but do you feel a level of gratitude on the journey? And I'm not saying you've reached the destination, because there will probably always be a yearning of something that you're working toward. Because I
Yeah.
think we're all like that.
Yeah.
There's always something, even in retirement. Maybe then it's a travel goal or a health goal. But are you satisfied and comfortable in the journey, on the journey you're on right now?
I'm comfortable, if
Mhm.
that's what you mean. Yeah, like at times I think, all right, don't be foolish. The last thing you want to do is find out you're the luckiest person in the world, and you wake up and you realize, I didn't even realize it. So I think I'm very lucky. We've got a lot of great people that work with us. We've grown in spite of lots of competitors trying to grow and not being able to. In those returns, I'm very grateful. But I don't know what would make me feel successful. I guess in a way I feel somewhat successful, but I would attribute that internally as I feel
Yeah.
more comfortable.
Yeah, I like that.
You know?
I'm going to get on his side of the table and look back at you and answer that question, because I'm sitting there applying it to myself, and
Yeah.
I feel like I almost feel like success, the word itself is like it's like an end point, and I'm deathly afraid of not having the desire to strive for success.
Because then
right?
it's over.
It's just like a retirement. I would never describe to someone as you're at the finish line. No, I like one of our clients said that it's turning the chapter to the next page. That's a really cool way to look. I really don't care how you look at it, but that's a great way. I work like when you say comfortable, because I've thought that I'm much more comfortable today than I was 20 years ago. But I'm also I'm not satisfied. And I worry that comfort causes complacency. And I grew up, we had a pretty humble life, and I just saw my parents work their tails off. And I think hard work equals great life.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
I think I'm in your book, your camp. I would say I'm comfortable, but getting towards successful, moving toward that, whatever that is.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it, that it's an end point, and it's really
There's
not,
never an
right?
end.
Yeah.
When my dad, in the last couple of years he was alive, he used to always tell my wife that he has to have a vacation on the calendar or something, some things to look forward to. He always called it the light at the end of the tunnel. He said, if that light ever goes out, I really have no reason to get out of bed. And that was a big fear. No matter how old you are, you got to have some things that you're looking forward to. Otherwise, that changes the perspective on everything. And
I don't know.
That's actually fearful for me. I don't like
Yeah,
it.
that sounds scary. But what if you're living in the light just by waking up? What if everything you have is ever here? What if success is already behind you?
She threw that to
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
I feel like Alex Trebek over here.
When you're focused on something, you're just used to working at it all the time. That is so uncomfortable. So I'll have people sit across from me and say, oh, you want to get into real estate? Yeah, I want to get into real estate. You want to make a lot of money? Yeah, I want to make a lot of money. Okay, great. What are you going to do? Let's fast forward. You get all the money. Now what are you going to do? And they're like, I'm going to go live on a beach. That's everyone's answer. I said, you know what? You got a couple bucks? Just go do it for 2 weeks and see if that's really the end. If that's what you really want. Oh, I could do it. And or some people will say, yeah, no, I could probably do it for a week, and that would be the end of it. So I think that we're built with this work ethic, and that drives us, or ambition drives us, or having goals will drive us, but not necessarily what initially put that there. I grew up with we didn't have a lot of money, and it was a little bit uncomfortable at times, and I think that feeling was more of an education than any of my formal education. That gave me, I think that drives me past a lot of different people now, because I'm not going back to that. I know that. Yeah. And I think that's like the work ethic that I have. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, the training you do with your folks, did you do that? Did you create that in-house, or did you find that outsourced and just plug them into that training?
Both. And some of that I had delegated. It's both. So we have in-house, and we also have like resources that come in and do parts of it. It's both. But I had delegated that, and we were doing really well with it, and we trained a lot of people. And it's, I don't know, it's 3 or 4 years since I delegated it. And like just recently this year, I wish I didn't because it's very time consuming. I said like, all right, I want to get back in the kitchen and see what's going on with the sauce because it's still the same. And so now I'm doing some of that training myself right now. And I realized the sauce hasn't changed. The delegation was pretty good. But so I've jumped back in doing it. But I think after these couple sessions, I'll back out.
Yeah, that's interesting. I literally was thinking about a chef when you started talking about it, because I think with today's technology, a lot of the outsourced trading, it depends on your business, but you can outsource a lot of the core stuff, right? And then do your in-house stuff okay, they taught you how to fry that, or not, you can't say fry that food, but they taught you how to saute
I don't
that,
have the
whatever.
seed oil.
Yeah, no seed oil. Yeah, don't get me started. But whatever it is, they taught you how to make the dish, right? Now I'm going to teach you how to season it. This is the way we do it in our office, and why people love coming here.
Right.
Because we have a certain flavor, right? Yeah. Okay. We're on the same
I think of that analogy a lot. Like when I was in the real estate business, when I had like a lot of properties and stuff, I couldn't make my own sauce. I was constantly relying on somebody to come and fix something or do something and in this business, in the brokerage business, I can make my own sauce. And if there's ever a problem, I can get in there and figure out what's going on and get it back on track very, very quickly. That bothered me so much, not being able. I wasn't fully invested in that business. And to take things full circle, when I came out of accounting, I thought, I'm never working for money again. This is BS. I'm not doing that. I'm only going to do things that I love. In owning real estate, I had found I'm doing this for the money. And I sold my properties to some guys that's what they do. They love it. There's a problem with a property. They leave the dinner table. They go straighten it out. Their family's all in. Everybody understands that the real estate is what makes their family. And I applaud them for that. And I love helping them find other properties that they love.
Our jobs are so similar. You are working with your buyer or your seller. And you started this conversation by saying you like to get to understand where they're coming from, their perspective. And that just helps you represent them better. I mean, it's no different here. Some people that literally are more speculative with their investments, and others who have some wealthy people who I manage a sliver of their overall stuff. They use other advisors, they do real estate, they have all these other things. And some people have every single dollar invested with us. And we also have investors who are, I don't want to say unbending, but they don't have a lot of room for problems. And then others who are very resourceful. No matter what happens, they'll tighten up the belt. They'll stop spending on that account. They'll figure out a way. They'll get a part-time job. And others who are just living off of those monthly income streams. Those are the ones you worry about. Yeah. Because they can't bend as well as the others. So anyway, I went off on a tangent on myself. Sorry. Try myself not to do that.
That's good. So you're really interested in the person and what their appetite is, right?
Yeah, the one thing that's different about our business is we're usually latched on to them as some sort of partnership advisory role, hopefully for decades.
Yeah.
Whereas you probably have a lot of repeat customers, but the transaction itself is based on a specific property. So it's a different animal.
Yep.
But you approach it in a very similar way, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This is great. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Beyond the Bottom Line. Thank you for listening. If this conversation sparked something for you, please let us know. Follow, share, or leave a review. It helps us keep having the conversations we love that you love to listen to. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more real talk from real leaders. Until then, here's to feeling successful beyond the bottom line.